how could I translate those rules that help me with that discipline into these other areas? Hi everyone, Roxanne here from FinanceRocks.com. Today I wanted to share how I used my financial discipline to finally clean my bedroom. Now, I came up with this idea a few years ago, and it really is, how can we use the discipline that we have in certain areas of life, our high discipline areas, to improve those areas of life where we have less discipline? Now, I got this idea initially from meeting with my personal finance coaching clients. I noticed that a lot of the times they were very highly disciplined when it came to things like working out consistently, eating healthy, having a clean and organized house, which is something I have always struggled with, regularly calling their parents and their loved ones. So I really started to wonder, how could we take that discipline and just apply it to money? The first prompt here would be to identify which areas do you have the most discipline. Maybe it is with your faith and it's reading regularly. Maybe it's with health or fitness. Maybe it's with family. Maybe it is with money, whatever your highest level area is. And then thinking about which is your lowest. Then we're going to walk through and figure out, how could I translate those rules that help me with that discipline into these other areas? So I'm going to give you a few examples. So let's say you're very disciplined and you are very consistent about always calling your mom or your dad every Sunday morning. One way that you might translate that into finances is say, every week at this particular time, I'm going to log in and check my bank balances and check my budget. Another one would be, my mother-in-law actually has a very impressive level of discipline with her dishes. She has a rule for herself where she's not allowed to go to bed until her dishes are cleaned and put away. I wish I had that one. So an example of how you might translate that into your finances might be, before I go to bed each night, I will log in and categorize any of the purchases I made this day. If you work out consistently, maybe you follow a rule like the 2-day rule. I can't remember who came up with this, where you're allowed to miss 1 day of working out, but you're never allowed to miss 2 in a row. So basically your rule for yourself is that you have to work out every other day. You could do the same thing with your finances, but maybe flip it to, if you are currently grocery shopping or doing some kind of shopping every day, limit yourself to grocery shopping every other day. So you're allowed to shop today, but you're never allowed to shop a second day in a row. Now, I have actually applied this rule to myself. I have finance as my area where I feel the most disciplined. All of those other areas are less, namely house cleaning. Cleanliness is definitely my area of least discipline. So I have this rule for the grocery store that helps me to save money on impulse purchases, particularly impulse purchases that happen at the end of the shopping trip as you're going through the checkout lines. The rule is I'm not allowed to buy anything from the check stands. It's really just not here, anywhere else is fine. So I tell myself, if I really truly want a candy bar, I'm allowed to have it. I just have to walk my butt back to the candy aisle and pick one up there. Same thing with soda. If I really want a soda, I can walk myself back to the soda aisle and go and buy some. And I'll tell you, I very rarely buy candy or soda, and this has been a big part of helping me to keep that rule of keeping those impulse purchases down. And really, keeping food at the check stands is how they get you. Because they know that by the time you get to the check stands, you're tired and you're hungry and you're experiencing decision fatigue. So I know that's how those marketing people get us. So that's the financial rule that I have. Now, I wanted to apply that to organizing my room. I was probably grounded for having a dirty room like 99% of the time that I was growing up. And honestly, I should have probably been grounded the last 99% of the time I've been an adult for having a dirty room. It's something I've always struggled with. Clutter on the floor, it just has always been a problem for me. And I noticed that particularly the area between my bed and the wall in this one particular spot was the worst. It was a combination of shoes that had been pulled out from underneath the bed, like my non-seasonal summer shoes that got disheveled and then didn't get put away. piles of paperwork that needed to go into the filing cabinet, a bag of old bras that I hated and that honestly was never gonna wear again. There was a shotgun because the shotgun case didn't fit in our gun cabinet. So, and then on top of all of this stuff, I would heap on it all of my dirty laundry. So anything, like I would go to get ready for bed, literally just take stuff and throw it on there. The other thing that would happen was I would put my clean laundry basket there, and then as I had more clean clothes, they would pile up and overflow. So it was a mix of clean and dirty clothes on top of this other stuff. So I came up with this rule. So similar to I'm not allowed to buy things here, but I can over there. I said, I'm not gonna put anything here anymore. I'm not allowed to put anything here. I can put dirty clothes anywhere else in my room or bathroom, but just not this one little area. Practice that. I had that rule, only not here. It remained a mess because my rule wasn't cleaning it. It was just not making it worse. So once I finally established that habit, I finally found time to start going through that little by little and putting things away or getting rid of things. I finally got the gun into the gun cabinet. I finally got the paperwork minimized and probably just brought downstairs. I still struggle with paperwork. I need paperwork rules. Clothes finally got cleaned and put away after all that time. Now, I don't have any images of this area before. It never dawned on me to take a picture of it. It's not something that I've ever been proud of. But I can go ahead and show you some images of other rooms where, I've looked at it and said, oh, this is a disaster. And now I should probably say, I do not have kids, so these are not messes made by children. These are messes made by me, which is awful and embarrassing. So if you were thinking, oh, maybe she's one of those people that's like, oh, it's such a mess, but there's like one pair of shoes. No, not like that. The floor was literally covered with all my crap. And here it is now. I am so excited. It's so nice. I don't trip over things on my way to bed at night anymore. I will say that after I finally got everything cleaned out to where it's actually empty, I modified the rule a little bit. So my rule now is that I'm just not allowed to put anything there. So whether it's clothes or anything else. The only thing that I really do anymore is if I'm already in bed and I want to take my socks off, I allow myself to just throw them off the bed. And then when it's laundry time, it's easy to just go through and pick up socks because it's not like mixed in with a bunch of other crap. That's it. That's how I used my financial discipline to finally clean the floor on my bedroom. I'm really curious. Can you think of any examples of how you could translate the rules that you have in high discipline areas into those areas that are lower discipline for you? If you liked this video, please feel free to like it and subscribe to my channel. I do create new videos every Friday about personal finance, paying off debt, saving more money, and ultimately finding more confidence and joy in your finances. Thank you so much, and until next time, I hope your finances rock. I can put dirty clothes anywhere else